so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? With purple angel, purple angel, purple angel, you're next to me.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer's Speaks Radio. I'm Lori LeBay, and I am the host and founder of Alzheimer's Speaks. We're going to have a great show for you this afternoon, but before we get into our discussion, I always like to tell people a little bit about Alzheimer's Speaks because we're always getting new listeners. So, bottom line, Alzheimer's Speaks is an advocacy-based company providing multiple platforms to shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort around the world. And we believe that by joining forces and sharing knowledge and just having these everyday conversations about life with dementia, that we can go ahead and remove some of the stigmas attached to the disease and give hope to people to live purposeful and continue with their life goals. And connect and just feel a part of. So many times people feel isolated, and we really want to remove that. At our core, we also feel strongly that collaboration is the only way that we're going to win this battle against dementia. And I know it's working because of your likes, your clicks, and your shares of all our content, from our dementia chats, videos where our experts have dementia and give us great insights, to our blog, to the radio show here, the YouTube channel, and all the other aspects that we offer. You see, when you like and click and share that content with your sphere, you're spreading the word that dementia's okay. And if it touches you or your family member, life is going to be okay, and that there's lots of resources out there. And so we hope that you'll continue to share and like the various content that we have, because it's not all about Alzheimer's Speaks. It's about all of us working collaboratively together to shift, again, our dementia care culture. And we know that this philosophy is working because we were named the #1 influencer online for Alzheimer's by ShareCare and Dr. Oz. And then recently, Maria Shriver also acknowledged us as a architect of change for humanity. And again, those are recognitions that we want to share with each and every one of you, because we don't feel like we did that alone. We truly are working together to spread the word to improve lives. I also want you to think about, if you're listening to this show, what might you have to offer our audience? Maybe you could be our next guest. You see, we interview everybody on this show, from people who are diagnosed with dementia or thinking that maybe they're having some issues, to families that are caring for them, professionals that provide services, to researchers, movie directors. We've had authors, musicians, activists, and kids that are changing the world in how we treat dementia. So what's your story? Reach out to me and tell me, and maybe you'll be our next guest. You can contact me by going to alzheimersspeaks.com. There's a big Contact Us button up on top, and you can either give me a call or shoot me an email. I'd love to talk with you. I'd also like to invite those listening to be part of our fall cruise. This first one we're going to take, and I'm sure there'll be more, but we're going to be going to the Eastern Caribbean for 7 days, November 11th through the 18th. And we are going to have a symposium while we are sailing, and we're going to have a lot of fun just rejuvenating, going on port and having a lot of camaraderie as well while we are on the ship. We have Cindy Lazinski joining us from Northern Colorado, who has just been really a force with dementia-friendly communities there. We also have Becky Watson, who's a music therapist, who's going to join us. And then we are honored to have 4 people living with the diagnosis of dementia being speakers in and during our symposium. Harry Urban, Michael Ellenbogen, Lori Shear, and Mary Reed. So it's going to be a fantastic time for people with early to mid memory loss and their care partners. Come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. Also want to tell you about a couple of opportunities. Newman Long-Term Care is giving away 5 copies of Maria Shriver's new coloring book called Coloring Your Mind, which is not just coloring, but it has education and prevention information and tips for living well with dementia in the book itself. There is also a giveaway. An organization who also is working with Maria Shriver is going to give away 60 weekend respite stays for care partners. And all you have to do is register at homecareassistance.com, /move4minds. And you can find more information. It's a really simple application to fill out. And it would be something I think that would be thoroughly enjoyable and well deserved. So let me talk about the show today. We are honored to have Ray Ward back with us, and he has really gotten into a new area. Anyways, I think it's a new area that a lot of people don't know about. And he represents fine art products, and they are using restorative properties of what they call biophilia. Is that correct, Ray?
That's correct.
Okay. Which is useful in all settings to really enhance interior design, both in homes and professional settings. And this biophilia edge can really assist in architectural design as well to create something that's beautiful and unique for both our mental and physical well-being of people who either occupy or visit that space. So welcome, Ray.
Thank you, Lori, for having me.
Well, I'm excited to have you back in town. Ray's been with us before, and it's always fun to chat with him. So, Ray, why don't you tell our audience, I always ask the question, have you been personally touched by dementia? Just so our audience knows. Some people have and some haven't, but...
Yeah, my dad had dementia for probably the last 3 years of his life. and it was not, I guess I want to say it wasn't really intense. I didn't feel that it was intense because there were times when I would visit him and he would know exactly who I was, and then other times he wouldn't right away, but it would come back to him. It was just the last 6 months where he really just didn't know who we were. Yeah, so he and I actually, I have some friends. I'm getting a little older myself, but I have friends that that have some memory loss. And actually, I just spoke to someone just a few minutes before I got here today, and he's talking about his mind being goo. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, but you can use that to your advantage, AJ, any chance you get.
Yeah. Goo or glue, yeah. Well, and there's so many people, too, that are dealing with cancer and talk about chemo brain,
Oh, yes.
There's so many levels of, how the neurology in our brain can affect us and the symptoms that can occur, or even dehydration, which is something that's fixable. Can cause signs with that too. So, well, I appreciate you sharing about your dad. That's always nice to know. I'm going to have you start out with explaining to the audience really what the heck is biophilia, because it sounds naughty, actually.
Well, I can assure you it's not. Well, biophilia is a really lively topic right now within the architect and design world. Mm-hmm. It probably 10 years ago or more, most people didn't know who it was, but there was a professor at Harvard that coined the term back in 1978. His name E.O. Wilson wrote a book titled Biophilia, and you can actually get that book, and I would recommend that's a really good book to start with. It's called Biophilia, and it's by Edward Wilson, Harvard professor. There are a number of books that I would recommend if you want to learn more about it, but really what it is, it's our connection to nature, and he defined it as biophilia. And what that means is that I'll call it that we were raised outdoors as a species. Millions and millions of years ago, 200 million years ago, there were a number of different species of humans, if you will. There wasn't. Most people just think of Homo sapiens now, and they came about around 200,000 years ago. But there was a time when there were multiple human species, but most of them did not survive the Ice Age, or a particular Ice Age. I won't get into that. That's another story in itself. But you can also find another book. It's called The Biophilia Hypothesis. It was edited by E.O. Wilson and written by Stephen Killert. Excellent book, too. So biophilia is our connection to nature, and in our physiology and in our psychology, and how it makes us feel being outdoors. We read the outdoors much better than we give ourselves credit for.
Mm-hmm. When you say read the outdoors, can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, if you think about it, just think of what it must have been like living outdoors all the time. That you had to be aware of your surroundings if you were in a good, safe place, or if a place seemed, you better keep your wits about you. What I want to say, our vision for seeing outside of our direct focus. What's the word I'm looking for? Peripheral vision would be engaged all the time. It was extremely heightened because something or someone could surprise us. We were also very keenly aware of how the sun moved across the sky and how that changed the way the sky looked, the way clouds moved across the sky. We were very keen to all of that. The color of the sun during a particular time of day. Of course, we didn't have Apple Watches. We just had the sun moving across the sky every day and night. We were very keenly aware of how the stars moved. So that's the kind of thing that I'm referring to.
Okay, so I guess I would relate that to how I do with dementia. That we're looking at nonverbals, but we're really reading what's going on in our environment and looking for signs and how that affects us. And I guess, for me, I think about when I'm by the ocean, I just love the crash of the waves, or the smell of the salt, or, whatever it is. And it just calms me down and it makes me excited at the same time, But, or the sound of crickets or fireflies or the crackling of fire. And those are the types of things that you're talking about, animals and...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and they all have an effect on us. They heighten our awareness or heighten our happiness, or not so much, or maybe our depression, if it's cloudy for days and days. But, yeah. Okay,
well, I think that's helpful for our audience to know and understand on that one. Why don't we talk a little bit about some of the products that you're representing and that fit in this biophilia category? Well,
the number one and leading product for me right now is Sky Factory, and it has been the number one for me. Sky is the largest, if you will, the largest piece of nature that we all are acquainted with, we all grow up under, and we're very familiar with it, meaning how it moves across, clouds move across the sky. We don't have to pay a lot of attention to it because it is just in our vision when we're outside. We understand it. So Sky Factory is the number one. They produce products that you can put in the ceilings. I like to call them illusions of nature. So they're illusions of sky with trees, if you'd like trees, and they can be flowering trees, all different kinds. But the quality of the product is what is most unique, because there are some other companies that offer images that you can put in a ceiling. You know, you and I could go outside and take a picture and light it up in some way and say, here's an image that's helpful. But it wouldn't be as helpful as Sky Factory's product in the sense that they have gone to great lengths to create these compositions that literally have been known and shown to trigger what is known as the relaxation response, which is another thing you can look up online. You can look up the relaxation response. It was coined by another Harvard professor back in the 70s. And that's really the big difference between what you and I would make and what the Sky Factory is making. It literally fools people's minds, not the intellect, but the mind. And, if that happens, the physiology and the psychology automatically relaxes. It's an automatic trigger. Now, if there is an image like that you and I took and put it in the ceiling, it's a nice representation of nature, but it will not trigger that relaxation response, which is precisely what we're after.
Okay.
So it's extremely unique. They also make windows, so you're looking out over landscapes. A few years ago, they got into moving images, so they have windows that are moving landscapes, everything from snowstorms to Hawaii scenes, and they've traveled to all these places and shot in 5K, Ultra HD. So people come in and look at my products, and they'll think that they can put their hand in the water in the stream because it's so real. It's beautiful.
Well, and I've had the opportunity to see some of these, and I can't even put it into words because it is just awe. You're just amazed at. I think you have one with fish in the tanks, and you would swear it's fish tank, you know, but you don't have all the maintenance and things, and they're always going, and it's always lively, and you know, the window setting. You know, if you've got a big hallway that's just kind of boring, to be able to have these windows that people can look out is incredible. Now, with that, I know at one time we had talked about there might be some sound added to some of these. Has that happened?
Yes. The window, when it came out, it had sound immediately. And so, yes, so when you look at the ocean or whatever, you hear the ocean. You don't hear the snowflakes when they're landing, but you can hear the ocean, you can hear a stream, you can hear the birds, and actually you can hear little flies going by, you know, and you can actually see the flies, by the way. It's so detailed. The fish aquarium, the virtual aquarium, does not have sound because when you look at an aquarium, a real aquarium, you don't hear anything.
Yep.
So it's trying to mimic the real stuff. They also have just released or are about to release in the next week or two a product that you put in the ceiling, and they are using monitors that are actually meant to be in the ceiling upside down. And you're going to see sky going by, meaning the clouds rolling by. So to put it above a bed or above a meeting area or whatever it might be, it'll look like a real skylight because obviously now it's moving.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's beautiful.
What other product lines do you represent?
Well, I've recently taken on a photographer, which I never thought that I would, but this particular photographer focuses on something that is dear to everyone's heart, as far as I can tell, and that is he specializes in photographing fireflies, and it is the coolest
What
thing.
a fun job!
Oh,
Who would have thought?
It is the coolest thing. Last year, he asked me if I would share his fireflies with the folks that I visit with, and I said, well, I'd like to go to a show, one of your shows, and so we actually came here to Minneapolis and did the Uptown Art Fair. And the reason I'm in town is because we just did it again.
Oh.
And it was fantastic. I mean, it is unbelievable. It is. Someone was in the booth and said, of all the 350 vendors, this is the most exciting booth.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, that's
and there's a lot of vendors out there. I've been to that show.
350, 400 vendors.
Yep.
And he said, I've been to them all, and this is like so exciting. I've never seen anything like it. And we hear that over and over, and everybody has firefly stories. Oh, when I was a kid, or my kids, and it's so funny to see how they turn into little children again. They get all giggly and everything. It's very, very, and the images are stunning. They just take your breath away. I mean, they're just beautiful, sensational. Yeah. Radim Schreiber is the photographer, and he's actually from the Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
And he only saw fireflies once when he was growing up. Very rare over there. But when he moved to the United States and he came to Iowa to go to school, he went out into the cornfields one night, and there was the fireflies everywhere. And he was intrigued. And so here we are 15 years later, and now he's traveling all over the United States sharing these firefly images.
Wow.
He's coming out with a coffee table book soon.
Oh, neat.
For Christmas.
Oh, very nice.
Should be fun. Another product I've taken on was marble. Well, I'll say it's marble. It's not just marble, but they specialize in marble laser cut stone. And they import stone from all over the world. Different colors, different textures, and all this. And they laser water jet cut this. And actually the company that I've partnered with actually invented this laser cutting about 30 years ago. The name of the company is Alto Design, and they are also here in the Midwest. And
aren't we just innovative out here?
Oh, we are.
Midwest?
Yeah. I think that the Midwest sometimes is one of the best kept secrets. What's going on out here is phenomenal. But anyway, this particular product is stunning. Now, you might not think of it as biophilic, but the beauty of it, in my opinion, touches the soul. And most anything that does that in a natural way, meaning that this is natural stone, is biophilic in some way. So anyway, I've taken that on just because it's beautiful. Anything that touches my heart is what I'm after.
Okay. So how do you see these types of pieces incorporated in dementia care? If it's in a home or if it's in a professional setting?
Well, I'll just stay on with the Alto Design stone material. There is a senior living facility they just completed down in, I want to say it's in Coral Gables, Florida. And it is a stunning center room where people come and gather. And you can see it on their website, Alto Design. That's AALTO design.com. And you can see it on there. The fireflies, I see it as it triggering memories. And you know this better than I do, but it seems to me that people with dementia and Alzheimer's, it's their childhood memories that they remember the most, or they keep the longest. And this brings a smile to their face. And that's also what I'm after, is to bring, I always say to my daughter when she's going out the door, have fun, whatever you're doing. So it's about having fun and laughter and all of this. And then the sky is along the same lines, is also that, the memory. We all grew up under the sky. So we're all familiar with it, and it has an effect on us. There's an organization down in Orlando, Senior Living, and its focus has been dementia and Alzheimer's. And they put in sky ceilings in every location that they build. and I've heard stories of the people coming and sitting under these park settings, and they sit there for the day, and they're as you know, they're in a lockdown area, so they can't get out on their own. So they will come and sit in these park settings with the sky and the palm trees.
Well, and how many times, I mean, both as a child and as an adult, laying on the grass, looking at the clouds, seeing, what characters you can find, with that.
Everybody's seen Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Well, and just that peacefulness of, feeling like you're part of something bigger, even if you are in a lockdown area.
Yeah.
I think it adds that expansiveness and broadens the mind, and brings it kind of to that emotional spot in the heart, like you were talking about. So I just think that this is really a very neat area, one that I hadn't really heard a lot of people talk about. Everyone's trying to create sensory rooms, and this would be great for sensory rooms. It would be great for dentists and hospitals, and and I've seen even I've seen the ceilings done with just the tiles, but not the moving tiles, and there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between what the Sky Factory is doing and these stationary either murals or lighting panels that are out there, and those add. They do, but they're not even close, to what the Sky Factory is doing and the windows themselves. So I think all of these things could add really nicely to sensory rooms, that feeling of calmness, a quiet area. It wouldn't be bad for a conference room where things can get a little tense, too.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Financial industries are seeing their way to them now, where they're on a trading floor. And the traders are under a tremendous amount of stress. And there's a lot of turnover and a lot of burnout and all that. And they're incorporating these into those spaces to help calm them down, open up, like you said earlier, it opens up the space. And opens up, in a sense, it opens up your mind, and just helps you in so many ways.
Yeah. Well, and I think when it comes to dementia care, adding pieces like that even into your own home, and they might not be able to afford a Sky Factory because they would have a real window, hopefully, in their house. But, the pictures of the fireflies, just getting people to think about what would trigger positive thoughts, or when that book comes out, maybe that's something that would be of interest. Pictures can trigger a lot. Music can trigger a lot. Sounds of nature can trigger, a lot of emotion and stuff in us. And, the tile, I mean, there's a lot of studies in terms of the energy within, certain stones and rocks and things like that can be very calming, that people don't even know is happening.
The energy coming from the stone.
Yep. So I think that there's a lot of different aspects, with this, and I think it's a very interesting thing to have communities dealing with dementia incorporate this. I mean, it just kind of opens up. It just opens things up from the beginning, to look at a bigger picture of truly what has a calming effect and what can keep us feeling content and comfortable. And I don't think, and I might be wrong because I don't know a lot of architects really closely, but I don't think that that's always necessarily, from some of the designs I've seen, has been the number one kind of goal. But with dementia, that's a huge goal. Granted, you got to stay within your budget, and it needs to be functional. But to be able to have a flow that's compatible, both physically and emotionally and spiritually, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Tying that all together.
Yeah, it's. You've already kind of touched on this, but it is going into hospitals and senior care, and it's going into corporate buildings. It's also going into schools now, are realizing that the children really need to be able to see outdoors or be outdoors, and so they're incorporating it. I received a letter from a school that we did some work with, and the woman that put it into almost like what you might call a meditation room talked about how it totally transformed the kids that were at risk. And it was wonderful to receive that letter. So, these can go anywhere. There's a lot of work being done in this area on biophilia and design. There is an organization out of New York City called Delos Living. They're doing a lot of work. They're coming out with a wellness certification for buildings. So this is similar to LEED for buildings, with efficiencies and all this. But now they're coming out with this wellness certificate, and it is about the occupants in the room and about their health, both physically and psychologically. There's another firm also in New York City, Terrapin Green, Bright Green. You can look these folks up. They're doing some tremendous work. And actually, Delos is partnering with Mayo down in Rochester, just down the road, doing research on all kinds of products that enhance our well-being. Now, that's a word that gets kind of tossed around, and maybe people are getting tired of it. But literally, it is about our physical and mental well-being. And that's really what I'm trying to help in my small little way.
Well, and I think sometimes people don't realize the impact our environment can have in our chemistry of our body. And there's been more studies recently about music and laughter, and how that can change our true chemistry. But so can visuals, so can sense. And so it's interesting that this is being added in and taken seriously. We have way too much stress in this world. So if there are tools like this, with biophilia products to help calm us down and make us feel safe and content, so that our bodies don't react, to stressful moments. That's a good thing. That's a good thing for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just quickly mention a couple of books that somebody might want to look up. One is called Sleights of Mind. It's about magic, and it's about illusion. And these are illusions. It's not a real firefly there. It's actually just a photograph. It's not the real sky, but it can have an effect on us. So that's a very interesting read. The other one is called The Nature Fix, written by Florence Williams. And it's about all the research and about all the things that are going on around the world directly tied to biophilia. It's tremendous. I would highly recommend, if anybody's interested, those designers and architects and senior living administrators that really want to know, does this really affect the bottom line? It absolutely does.
Okay. Do you know if there's anyone here in Minnesota where we're broadcasting from that, as far as senior housing goes, that's looked into this? Because I have not heard this really talked about.
I've been coming up here for a little over a year now, and I can't put my finger on anything right at the moment.
Okay.
But what I will say is that I was at the Leading Age show last February here in St. Paul. And the response to the product was phenomenal. I mean, I had our virtual aquarium, I had our sky ceiling, and all I had for the sky ceiling was a small 2x2 sky ceiling, and it was actually sitting on the floor, leaning up against something, and people couldn't stop looking at it. It was great. It was just a great.
You weren't able to pull the trailer up, huh? That
no,
has all that.
I didn't bring the trailer. It was February. I don't like to drive that thing around in the snow and ice.
If you're in an area, the trailer is really cool to see.
Yeah, it'll be here next summer.
Well,
again, it's coming back.
Okay.
Yeah, next summer.
And is there a place where people can check that out to see if it's coming to their area?
Yeah, you can go to the Sky Factory website, and there's a tab there titled Skymobile, and you can click on that, and it will show you a map with the dates, where they're going. Yeah.
Because that's if it's in your area, that's definitely something worth your time.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be very surprised, and make sure that you have upper management. Grab their hand and yank them along, because if they're the ones controlling the budget, you want them to see it live, because it's hard to explain. I mean, for people to really see the difference without physically seeing it. Because they're like, it's a picture of a cloud.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not.
It's not just a picture of a cloud.
Yeah.
The other thing is grab their hand, because they need to get the heck out of that office. They need a break.
Yep.
They're so stressed out. So many people come in, and I think when you were there, it was like you don't want to leave.
Yeah.
You go in, and it's like, wow, this is just tremendous.
Yeah, we turned into bad house guests. No, the group I was with.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I can't put my finger on anything right here in terms of senior living that has gotten into it. Sorry if there's somebody out there that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, no, well, and it's hard to be able to talk with all of them too. So if you're listening and, dealing in memory care or any other type of business, Ray's not going to single you out if you're not in memory care, not talk to you.
Right.
He works with everybody.
Yeah.
So please.
I'll tell you something.
I
I work with everybody. I work with them when I'm pumping my gas, filling up my car, and people come and say, "What do you got there?" They could see something, and I explain right there, because this is just a phenomenal product, Sky Factory stuff. So I talk to everybody, everywhere.
Okay. Well, pretty soon they'll probably have them in your car, so we won't have to worry about being rained on or snowed on. We can always have the window open, or feel like we can.
Yeah, right.
Well, interesting. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our audience at all?
Let's see. Well, I will say that Sky Factory has done the research on their product. They did it a few years ago, with a group down in Lubbock, Texas. So if you're in doubt, go to the website, and you can About Us, and down there'll be a tab for research. Okay. You can read the research and what they did. Neuroscientists, professors, architects were on the board. I mean, they had the full gamut. And I also want to just mention that because of that research that they did, an organization right here in Minneapolis, IDRA, Evidence Design Research Association or something like that, they bestowed an award on the Sky Factory's research as being cutting edge, since Roger Ulrich 30 years ago came out with research about scenes with nature and how they affect us. So that's a phenomenal award for them. And really, it just confirms everything I've been saying for years about this product. Yep. It's stunning. Well, it's nice to hear it from your peers. Get that stamp of recognition that this is solid. Yeah, they go. IDRA does research on the research, so they confirmed that. Yep, this is really true. Okay, well, very cool. Ray, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Phone or email or LinkedIn or all the above? All of the above. Okay. So you can find me on LinkedIn. You can also give me a call. My phone number is 641-919-5529. You can also reach me at Fulcrum Group. That's Fulcrum Group CO @outlook.com. Yep, and Fulcrum is FULCRUM, and then group, and then CO @outlook.com. And again, that phone number is 641-919-5529. And on LinkedIn, look up Raymond. Yeah. Raymond Ward, not Ray Ward. And right, and Raymond Ward. Yep, and he'll pop up. Mm-hmm. Do you want to give out the websites to the Sky Factory and things? Yep. Okay. Sky Factory is skyfactory.com, just like it sounds, SKYFACTORY.com. Fireflies is Fireflies, FIREFLYS experience.org. It'll take you right to Redeem Schreiber's photography. Phenomenal stuff. And then Alto Design, AALTODESIGN.com. And then I just want to say the reason I chose the word Fulcrum Group is leveraging nature for our well-being.
Okay.
That's why I have Fulcrum Group.
Okay. Well, good to know. Good to know. Well, Ray, it's always a pleasure to have you with us, and I appreciate you coming to Minnesota and visiting with us once again. And again, look up, biophilia, reach out to Ray. I had pulled up just some real basic stuff, and it just said, the biophilia design can reduce stress, improve cognitive function, and creativity, and improve our well-being and expedite healing. And I thought, well, that is really, really interesting. The elements that this has, that restoration process is pretty cool. And, any way we can get rid of stress and feel the impact of nature, I think it just kind of retunes our heart.
Yes.
And our well-being as a whole.
Yep.
Let me give a shout out before we wrap up here to Rachel Perrin, who is one of my cohorts here on Alive and Social. She has a program called What's for Dinner Tonight, and she is the culinary director for Kowalski's Markets. And she does a show that's about 10, 15 minutes long, but it really helps you if you're frustrated and hassled trying to figure out what the heck's for dinner tonight. And you can go to Kowalskis.com and find a full array of seasonal menus. And that is KOWALSKIS.com. And then one more reminder on our dementia-friendly cruise and symposium, November 11th through the 18th. Just go to alzheimerspeaks.com. You'll see information right on our homepage. You can click on that. It'll take you to our projects and initiatives page. You can print out a program of what the symposium looks like and find out exactly where our ports are going to be. But it's going to be a great, really a great time for people with early to mid memory loss and their family members to come together and really build some camaraderie with others walking the same path. Let's see, Dementia Chats. So our last one we did was talking about the impact of social media on relationships, which was extremely interesting. And then we have a couple of giveaways. One is for a free weekend for caregivers. They can win. There's a grant that the Home Care Assistance program, along with Maria Shriver, they've got 60 grants to give a respite to caregivers, and you can sign up to win today. And the sign-up process is really quite simple. So go to homecareassistance.com/move-for-minds. That's homecareassistance.com/move-for-minds. And then you can also win one of 5 copies of Maria Shriver's Color Your Mind coloring book via Newman Long-Term Care. And both of these have articles on the blog, so you can find information there. There's also some research regarding lavender treatment for dementia. And Silverado did just a great job. There's a really fun video that they show taking their residents out in nature. So they're kayaking and doing all kinds of stuff, kind of getting back to this nature setting, and it's amazing what they accomplish in that setting. And last, don't forget, you have the opportunity to download our new trifold helpful tips when dealing with dementia. We'd love for you to grab those if you think those would be helpful. And wrapping up, remember the 3 simple things of your memory chip, which can be downloaded off our site. Are they safe? Are they happy? Are they pain-free? Pain-free. Are they safe? Are they happy? Are they pain-free? Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Hi, I'm Lori LeBay, and I wanted to tell you about Alzheimer's Speaks, which is another great podcast. You see, my own mother lived with dementia for 30 years, and I felt lost. Did you know every 3 seconds someone in the world is being diagnosed with dementia? Odds are it's going to hit your families too. We want to help you connect to services, products, tools, research, and stories so you can be prepared. Please subscribe to Alzheimer's Speaks on your favorite podcast platform.